Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for the opportunity to welcome you to Washington for the first of two Roma Lyon Group meetings that the United States will host this year. The United States is very pleased to host the G8 in 2012. The Roma Lyon Group and its work on anti-crime and counterterrorism plays an important role in the G8 process. In more than 10 years since the formation of this group, we have seen it effectively adapt to new foreign policy challenges and evolving threats posed by terrorism and crime. The United States government is also adapting our diplomacy for the 21st century to strengthen civilian efforts and take a more comprehensive and integrated approach to security and development. As Assistant Secretary for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, I oversee the policies and programs that combat international narcotics and crime. I returned Saturday from Vienna, where I attended the Paris Pact Ministerial to combat the Afghan narcotics trade with the Deputy Secretary of State. He and many of your foreign ministers, most notably Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and French Foreign Minister Alain Juppé, underscored the complexity of this task. The United States recognizes that these efforts will not succeed unless they are pursued in tandem with other civilian security efforts, including countering terrorism, promoting democracy and the rule of law, and crisis prevention and response. This morning I will reflect on the interconnectedness of our work, particularly the twin aims of countering crime and terrorism, and the need to be flexible, innovative, and adaptive. The Roma Lyon Group is one of the G8's longest serving and most practical groups, and for good reason. You are charged with addressing these issues in unique and comprehensive ways, and you have delivered. No longer do we address cross-cutting national security issues in a stovepiped manner. The representation around this room today includes our country's foreign ministries, interior and justice ministries, transportation, and national police. You represent the whole of government approach that is necessary to ensure effective development and implementation of our policies and capacity building measures. My government is committed to strengthening law enforcement and dismantling transnational criminal organizations, fighting terrorism, and promoting democracy, human rights, and stability. Our counterterrorism and police training programs work alongside those that defend human rights, promote opportunities for young people, and combat trafficking in persons. We also work to strengthen criminal justice institutions to enable them to deal with a range of interrelated security challenges. Our counter-narcotics and anti-crime programs complement counterterrorism efforts, both directly and indirectly. They promote modernization and support operations by foreign criminal justice systems and law enforcement agencies charged with the counterterrorism mission. This is important because, as we all know, transnational organized crime works hand in hand with terrorists. As our G8 leaders noted previously, the crime-terror nexus is a partnership of convenience. Terrorist organizations overcome differences in motivation and ideology to use criminal organizations to launder their money and acquire funds. Terrorist and insurgent groups have evolved into criminal entrepreneurs in their own right, engaging in illicit activities to finance their operations. We are committed to work with the G8 and other international partners to disrupt and dismantle crime-terror pipelines that harm our collective security and communities. In recognition of the growing threat posed by transnational organized crime, President Obama released the first ever comprehensive U.S. strategy to combat transnational organized crime in July of 2011. Transnational organized crime, including drug trafficking, threatens governance throughout the world in both developed and developing countries. It poses a particular threat in weak or fragile states, not only to the local societies themselves, but also to the wider world community. Well-financed, organized, and equipped transnational crime groups overwhelm and co-opt local law enforcement authorities and use vulnerable states as safe havens from which to springboard or support regional or global criminal networks. President Obama's message is that, quote, "This strategy is organized around a single unifying principle: to build, balance, and integrate the tools of American power to combat transnational organized crime and related threats to national security, and to urge our foreign partners to do the same." End quote. Building and strengthening partnerships is a cornerstone of President Obama's counterterrorism strategy. Last June, the White House issued a new counterterrorism strategy, its first since 2006. It builds on the groundwork laid by previous strategies and a decade of concerted efforts on counterterrorism. The strategy reflects an evolution in our understanding of the threat, in the capabilities of our government, in the capacity of our partners, and the tools and technologies at our disposal. We must not view foreign and security policy through a counterterrorism prism alone. Our counterterrorism policies do not define our entire foreign policy. Rather, they are a vital part of and are designed to reinforce our broader national security interests. Our strategy recognizes that U.S. counterterrorism efforts benefit from and at times depend on broader foreign policy efforts, whether to promote the peaceful resolution of political disputes and grievances, economic growth, development, good governance, or human rights and the rule of law. One of the reasons for the success of the Roma Lyon Group is that you have been ahead of the curve in recognizing the complementarity between counterterrorism and anti-crime. We see this in your concrete projects on the prevention of fraudulent breeder travel documents, or the creation of best practices to address multi-victim and terrorism cases. From the U.S. perspective, we value the Roma Lyon Group as a venue that brings together experts and practitioners across these fields. This group has contributed greatly to developing international standards and norms in law enforcement. It is this group that brought to fruition the UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, which is now the universally recognized gold standard for advancing international cooperation to fight criminal organizations. It is this group that created the 24/7 network of national points of contact for high-tech crime to facilitate cooperation among law enforcement in the area of cybercrime. The group also has a distinguished record of supporting international efforts to protect children from sexual predators, launching a G8 Global Symposium and an Interpol G8 Child Sex Offender website. The group's work on transportation security, migration, criminal legal affairs, and counterterrorism deserve recognition. I commend the work that you are pursuing in these meetings to counter improvised explosive devices and transnational organized crime and drug trafficking in West Africa. The United States values the Roma Lyon Group's ability to enhance our collective response to the evolving and cross-cutting security threats we all face. We are pleased that you contribute so directly to the success of the new Global Terrorism Forum, and we see the work of these two groups complementing each other quite well. Moving forward, I challenge you to find more ways to work across traditional lines of organization and expertise and to produce practical products. I ask you to develop best practices and recommendations that can be exported to other international partners and organizations. I wish you success during your meetings these next 2 days. Welcome to Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to work.